الدعوة التامة والصلاة. Before I start, I would ask everybody who has a telephone, cell phone, please turn it into silent. If possible, turn it off. We have lots of children with us today. If your father is here, I want you to go and sit next to your father for the boys. And if the brothers who are in charge of these youth can sit with them, because it's going to be for them mainly. It's about raising our children. Can we do that, please? Those who are in charge of the kids? Please. Just sit next to them, any adult. Just separate their ranks so that they can focus with us. And they should be here. The children should be here. Inna alhamdulillah. نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين وبعد فيقول الله عز وجل في التنزيل الحكيم من بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون اللهم اجعلنا من المتقين من المحسنين واجعلنا من المربيين يا رب على سنة نبيك عليه الصلاة والسلام. Brothers and sisters in faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Tahrim, He reminds us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. O you who believe, protect yourself and your family. Just yourself and your family, not the community, not the society. You and your family. If you're a man, then it's your wife and your children. If you're a woman, then it is you and your husband and your children. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Protect yourself from a fire whose fuel is literally people and stones, which means Judgment Day. Years ago, I had a discussion with a brother, Dr. Atif in Texas, and I was telling him that I had a nice workshop with the youth. And the question of marriage came into play. And I told him, I said to the youth that marriage is divine. It's divine because of so many verses within the Quran. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. That's in Surah Al-Hujurat. And there is another verse that says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and created from us a soul or a mate so that we can dwell in tranquility. And now the question about the children and how we should raise them. And so I told him it is divine, and the purpose of it is what? So that a new generation of human beings will come to earth, and generation after generation, and there will always be a group of men and women who will worship Allah the proper way. Who will worship Allah the proper way. That worship of Allah the proper way cannot happen if we don't do due diligence towards educating our kids. The dangers that we face nowadays, and this is the youth, please pay attention. The dangers that our children and ourselves face, they are so hidden and so insidious and so well programmed and prepared that it is almost impossible for any one of us not to step on one of those throughout our life until the day we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more we prepare ourselves, the more we are careful about where we go, what we say, what we do, where to get our information, and how to deal with others, the better prepared and the less chances that we fall into the pit of hellfire, wal-'iyadu billah, because it starts on earth before the akhirah, wal-'iyadu billah. وَلَتَرَوُنَّ الْجَحِيمِ, Allah says. Indeed, you will see the Jahim, which means the worst of the tribulations in this earthly life. When we have children facing a screen, there's a good book called Plugged In. When children are facing the screen for hours and hours and hours throughout the day, and particularly during vacation, I ask the father and the mother, why is it so? Why is it so? What information is your child gathering? Are you over his or her head for every single click that he uses on that screen? What is he learning? If we look at the Prophet ﷺ and what he taught, he said, عَلِّمُوا أَبْنَاءَكُمْ الرِّمَايَةَ وَرُكُوبَ الْخَيْلِ وَالسِّبَاحَةَ. Teach your children archery and horseback riding and swimming, especially when they're a kid. Surprisingly, he didn't say teach them the Quran. He didn't say teach them the Hadith. We're talking about things, activities. The kids need activities. The kids need to move. The equivalent of a child or of a man working is what it is for a child playing, releasing that energy. Not surprisingly, we have kids in schools who commit some types of crimes. The energy is not being released, and what they are storing in their minds, particularly about video games that are extremely dangerous, literally dangerous. It is a conditioning, brothers. Our kids are being conditioned, and so are we. And so are we. We are being conditioned by the screen. Doesn't matter the size of it. It could be a 2-inch by 4, and it could be a 72 inches at home, a whole wall. We are being conditioned, and we are not aware of this conditioning. And I ask, where is it that we are failing with our children? We all should ask ourselves this question. We all should do that. And if one of us rebels against what he is or she is faced with, he becomes marginalized. That means he is no longer part of the community, of the society. And that's why children now, they want to fit, just like the children before. You know what? All my friends have this. Why shouldn't I? And they can even enter a state of depression if we don't get them what their classmates or friends have. And that's where the danger is. And they will get depressed on the basis that we did not prepare them to face that and to say, مَا خُلِقْتُ لِهَذَا. I was not created for this. Some of you are thinking, Brother Khalid is outdated. He's probably a dinosaur. This is modern age. This is 21st century. This is internet. And you know what? This technology is amazing. And I use it, yes. But we should use it with conscience. We should ask ourselves, the next click that I'm going to, the next thing that I'm going to do or click or whatever it is, how beneficial it is for me. Are we allocating a specific time for our children in terms of TV viewing or game playing? If we are not doing that, then ask ourselves the hours that they are spending on a daily basis, and probably even us, because I know some adults also play video games, and there is no problem with that, as long as it does not distract us, as long as we don't become a commodity. When the first apps came, Viber and you name it, Skype, everybody was so happy. You know, it's for free. My brother in Canada, he said, remember this, he said, if the product is free, then you are the product. If the product is free, then you are the product. That means you are being used. And there's tremendous danger in this. Don't be fooled, brothers and sisters, with our number in this room on Fridays. Don't be fooled, and me with you, by the way, myself, by the number of brothers and sisters who attend Eid prayers. Don't be fooled by the mosques being full literally, or filled during Ramadan. The largest proportion of Muslims that don't go to the masajid, to the mosques, is out there. I can easily risk a number, and I would say it will be more than 90%. We're a minority. Here, we are a minority because others already are being sucked up by the system. I want all of us to be mindful of our acts and actions when we use the technology. It is a powerful tool, and we can find amazing things in it. But the danger there is always present, always, particularly with the children. When we hear about the crimes committed in high schools and sometimes middle schools of a young teenager coming and shooting his own classmates sometimes and his teachers, we ask, what happened in the mind of that kid? The fashion that our children are following now, whether it is the haircut or the jeans or whatever it is coming from where? From celebrities. Go on pbs.org and watch, and I gave a presentation on this, the very famous documentary called The Merchants of Cool. Merchants of Cool. Don't watch it with your kids. Our children and ourselves are being studied. Customize whatever we believe this human being and his group are in need of, or want, not in need of, want, and they touch into the most natural thing. Allah says, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطير المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة والخيل المسومة. It has been beautified in people. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حب الشهوات, the desires, the love for desires. That means Allah has tested us with that. It's a software, just like a software. It's built in within us. We look at the beautiful land, we say, MashaAllah, I love this land, it's so beautiful. The trees, MashaAllah. The other gender, Tabarakallah. Right? Our children, Hubbu Shahawat min al-Nisa wal-Banin. MashaAllah, I have 5 kids. And this is what the Arab of then, of al-Jahiliyyah, of the ignorance time, they used to brag about. I have so many boys. They become man, and I'm the chief of so and so. And this by itself is a test by itself. And those who are dragging, not the Muslims, don't misunderstand me, humanity, we along the Christians and all other faiths, and even people of no faith, we are all in the same pipeline. If we are not aware of what we do, what we learn, what we say, where we go, how we sit, how we walk, When I come to shake hands with a teenager, and yes, we may think this is the United States of America, this is 21st century. A teenager who comes to the masjid, okay? Not necessarily here. And he has his foot on a chair on a table and doesn't even look at me or you, and barely gives his hand like this. I don't question him. I question those who brought him to this life. That means you and me, the parent, and you, the mothers. Because if that attitude is the norm, it is not the norm for a Muslim. It is not the norm for a Christian either. I went for some medical test, and the lady who did some test on me, a Christian, an amazing woman. And you would think that in her thinking, she is, Allahu Akbar, probably better than many Muslim women. And she said, my kids never got their telephone before the age of 17, 18, cell phone. My kids, they don't sit watching TV. We discuss, we talk, we do things together. I told her fashion, you know, the new fashion. She said, what fashion? Yes, a Christian lady. She said, what fashion? I said, well, I mean, you know, how those blue jeans are cut and you can see the skin. She said, you call that fashion? This is non-Muslim, non-Muslim. It tells us what, brothers and sisters? There are men and women of conscience. They use this. أَفَلَا يَعْقِلُونَ أَفَلَا تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Allah says it on and on and on. He did not give us this aql, this ability within which we think and we distinguish between right and wrong, and we put it to sleep. And we let whatever is outside influence us. And listen to this, kids, influence you also to become just what? A commodity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَأَنَّهُمْ حُمُرٌ مُسْتَنْفِرَةٌ فَرَّتْ مِنْ قَسْوَرَةٍ. Talking about the people in general, okay? And saying they are like donkeys, a group of donkeys, running away from what? From the lion. It's a metaphor that Allah uses. It tells us that the behavior, it's like a social, a collective behavior that we have. If others are doing it, why not me? If others have this and this, why not me? And we go on, and it doesn't stop. And we become what? A consumer. How many inventions were made in the past 50 years by some Muslim scholars in their own field? Maybe we can count 2, 3, maybe 5, and that's it. Why? Because we are not using it. We are not distinguishing between right and wrong. We are not nurturing our children to choose the difficult path, which is the ascending one. It's difficult, brothers. To fly an airplane, you have to put a lot of thrust in it, lots of power. Similarly, for the brain to reach that level of consciousness, you have to do a lot of work. How many books you kids are reading? I hope you do. What kind of books are you reading? We have to be careful about that, because we will be responsible and accountable for our children. And we don't want them on Judgment Day to grab us by the neck, although there will be no clothing for us, and say it's because of him that I turned bad. They didn't give me what I needed to grow and to be a healthy individual and to help the society. Yes. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. اللهم اغفر لي ولوالدي. استغفرك اللهم واتوب إليك. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I'm going to wrap up, inshallah, this about the kids. The very first thing that the children need is your love as a parent. your love and conditional love. Love does not mean to be weak. No. It doesn't mean to be weak. When the Prophet ﷺ was kissing a young kid who was on his lap, and the man who saw that, he said, I have 10 of those, and I never kissed any of them. He said, what can I do for you? If you have, he said, I cannot do much for you. If you don't have mercy in your heart, then those who have no mercy, there will be no mercy shown to them on Judgment Day. And this is a very clear message to us as parents. Love your child. If you cannot do that, then do not get married. Don't have children. Can we make room for those who are standing? Please, come forward. Teaching, and now they have a whole thing called love and logic. Teaching using love and logic in schools. They use that. Love does not mean you do not discipline the child. No. When you prevent your child from going more than 30 minutes or 45 minutes playing in a video game, you are loving him or her. Yes, you are. Yes. You are making him or her a great individual who later is going to watch a program and say, I don't like this. And he's going to turn it off. Because you are basically empowering the child. When you stop him after 30 minutes, say enough, and you turn off that, you're loving him and you are empowering the child. Sit with him or her. Say, let's do something together. Can we do something else? Don't distinguish between a boy and a girl. You know, Ahmed, he can go with his friends out. He comes back after Maghrib or Isha. It's okay. But Aisha, are you crazy? You go out? You're not being fair. You're not loving her and him. You're not. Because what's haram for him is haram for her, and what's haram for her is haram for him. Al-halalu bayyin wal-haramu bayyin. It's clear between haram and what's allowed. And it is for both, not the two. And we have this mentality from back home. La huwa rajul. No, he's a man. No, we don't do that. That was not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. We have to learn the meaning of tarbiyah. I said once to my teachers in Texas, we're going to have a tarbiyah program. One of them came to me, she said, why do you think I'm mashi marabbiya? You think I'm not educated? She completely missed the meaning of it. Completely. Because tarbiyah, literally you are nurturing, you are rearing the child. You are following every step of that child to make sure that he will be one day a straight individual. When we plant a small tree, we put some ropes right and left to keep it growing straight. Why? Because of the wind, because of all kinds of things that can happen to the tree and it may grow crooked. Who is going to hold those kids and keep them on the right track? It's you, the parent. And it's you, the uncle, and it's you, the aunt. And it's you, the brother in the masjid, and the sister in the masjid. I said this before, I told you this before, and I will keep telling you. Whoever steps in this masjid, and you are here, or I am here, or you're here, amongst the children, they are under your eyes. We cannot say, La wallah, it's not my child. This is the way the system wants it. The child is shackled and is wrapped and is ready to be what? To be enslaved by the system before even coming out of the womb of his mother. Yes. And go and find out about how many Christian families out there, they do homeschooling. It's unbelievable the number of people of conscience who do homeschooling. And I met many on the basis of what I am talking about. The influence of the outside world. Whether it's the school, whether it's whatever it is. Entertainment place and so on and so forth. This is what it is about rearing. We have to teach them to have the strength, the qualities of strength, in belief as well as in their personality. If we keep scolding a child and not letting him or her grow in a sound manner, we are causing this individual to have low self-esteem, if any, and no confidence in himself or herself, and they can turn very bad in the society later on as delinquent or maybe even criminals, because they will have a counter reaction later on in their lives. That was not the way of Prophet ﷺ. When he put 17 years old Usama ibn Zayd at the head of the armies 3 days before he died, ﷺ, he tells us what? He trusts the youth and he prepared them for that. It's not only I trust them, no, I prepared them for that. There was not a single child in Mecca or Medina that was not under his eyes, ﷺ, as well as his companions. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم اصلحنا واصلح أزواجنا اللهم اصلح ذريتنا اللهم اصلحنا لأزواجنا اللهم اغفر لنا واغفر لوالدينا واغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم اغفر لنا إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم وارحمنا وأنت أرحم الراحمين واعف عنا وأنت العفو الكريم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين إنك على كل شيء قدير وأقم الصلاة وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.